What's up, YouTube? Back with another video. LA Mamba. It is September 15, 2023. It is Friday. It is 6:15 p.m. and we are closed. So this channel about the tire shop and multiple streams of income. And today I want to talk about the real estate business, and I want to tell you guys my favorite real estate strategy. So throughout the years, I'll tell you guys a little bit about myself, how I got started in the real estate business. So then, I read a lot of books, and I had a property back in the day, and when the 07-08 crash happened, I lost a 4-unit in Redlands. And it took me out of the game for 10 years. I wasn't able to buy another piece of property until then. During the whole time, I built this really strong tire shop business. But so when I started back up, I started with already money saved, a lot of money saved when it came to buying properties. So through this tire shop business, by the way. But anyways, I first started out with a piece of land. It was like this one house that had an acre, and the owner split the acre in half, and he sold off half an acre, and I bought that half an acre. So it was a very good location because it was like the only piece of land on that street, and everything was houses except for mine. So what I did was, because it was split in half, it didn't have an entrance, I did a value add. I built an entrance, very nice. I pretty much copied the style of fence that it had. When it comes to like making that brick wall, I used the same design, the same color, but I made a nice big entrance. I had a steel guy make the gates, and everything came out good. Then I had this big old entrance. It was very nice. So it looked very awesome, that big old entrance. And so I was like, okay, what's next? I mean, it's just there. I can't rent out this land because the city's gonna see it, and pretty much there's not a lot of value renting out that piece of land in that area, because that area is there's kind of like a lot of land out there. So I was like, all right, well, the next thing is to build a house on it. And then I just thought about it, and I was thinking like, wait a minute, I don't know nothing about building a house. I'm not gonna build a house, I'm just gonna sell it. So that's how you can get screwed if you're doing something you don't know what you're doing, like contractors, and they can rip you off big time. So anyways, I didn't want to go that route. I was like, let me think about this. I'm going to sell that piece of land, and I'm going to do a 1031 exchange and buy something that's already built. So I did that. I sold it, and I actually sold it for more than what I was asking for it. And I did a 1031 and bought up, 2 months later or something like that, 2.5 months later. Now I had another property, and I sold that one. So from that one, I did a value add. I made it pretty much become 9 streams of income on that one, and that was more of a cash flow play. So then, like, I just once I was like all about the streams of income, I really went hard on that property right there, and I still got it. And I just kept it as a pretty much a cash flow property. Right? You just pretty much is throwing out a lot of cash flow every single month. And at the time, it was great. It was very, very good. And even now with the things I'm doing, the cash flow comes in handy here and there. When it comes to repairs on my other properties, I use money from there to do repairs and stuff on other properties. And anyways, I did a few deals here and there, some flips, and throughout the journey, I bought this mobile home park, and that became my favorite. As in properties itself, they are my favorite type of properties. Mobile home parks. It's just so good how the property is built when it comes to like the expenses are for the tenants, and more on the income is more for yourself. I really love that. The problem with the properties of mobile home parks is that if you're gonna buy them, they really gotta be out of state. They're not gonna be here in Cali because they're very expensive. And even if you're gonna buy them in Cali, let's say you have a lot of money, they're so hard to find here. They're so hard to find good ones. They're either very, very expensive that it just doesn't make sense to buy, and the other one is they're just not good. There's just not enough of them. They're just so little amounts. They're very, very little amounts of properties to find and do. So pretty much there's no real deal flow, right? There's not enough of these things so you can make like a business out of it, like scale it. That's the word. So you can scale it, right? And there is properties in Cali that has mobile home parks, but they're just not enough, man. It's just like by the time you get to them, all the investors already picked through them, and just like they're just either way too hard to build up from where their current state at, or they're just not really good, like really bad tenants. Like you can look at a property, you have like all these trashy like trailers, and the people that live there are just like not paying. And I mean, they're really, really bad properties that I've seen. Like there's just not enough good ones, pretty much. So from then on, down the line, many years, just studying different types of ways people make money. When it comes to either tax liens or when it comes to like the BRRRR method, the BRRRR method. There's just like the stack, right? There's just a lot of different types of ways to build up your portfolio. But my favorite one is right now, from everything I've learned in the past, is buying apartment buildings and trading them up. And what you gain from that is equity. So I haven't really done my first one yet. I got an apartment building, but it's not on my second deal. Like on the second one, you can really say you've done it, right? Right now, I currently have it. It's good. I want to make some good money on it, but I haven't done the strategy yet. I've done a lot of other things. I've done, the flips. That's another strategy. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. Building notes. I built one note. I still own that note. It's a 15-year. They're gonna be paying me for 15 years. But the way I like out of all of them that I've learned is that this way there's enough properties you can find and the strategy will work. I mean, there's a lot of properties out there. And there's a lot of improvement I need to do still. Like finding more off-market deals. I've seen people do find off-market deals, and I haven't found any like that. I just pretty much use the MLS, and even that way it works fine. But if you want to make even more money, you gotta find off-market deals. But the strategy is you buy the apartment building and you do a value add. A value add is mainly, it's pretty much increase the income of the apartment building. So the cool thing is that the banks will lend you a lot of money for these properties. You can find a lot of these properties all over SoCal. The value add, the banks will place their value on the property depending on the income. If you can lower the expenses, that's great, but usually you just can't. And when you flip it, you do a 1031 exchange and go bigger. So there's a lot that needs to be done to get yourself in a position to do these type of deals. And with many years, you know, building up your assets, building up your business, right? Building up your money and your experience, then you can play the game. And I'm barely starting the game. This is like, I put it this way, I barely started 3 months ago. That's how long it took me to play this game. Well, the reason it took me so long is, first of all, education, number one thing. I had money years ago, for many years. I could have bought apartments many years, but I did not have the education to take me there. So now that I've so much networking with people, meeting people, you know, taking people out to lunch, talking to them on the phone, you know, you get little details here and there, you get little details here and there. And if you're lucky enough to find somebody that knows what they're doing, then you just found gold. You just found gold. And they can tell you exactly what you pretty much need to do. And it's really hard, because out of all the people that I know, I really just know very, very few, probably like 2 or 3 people that do the strategy. And it goes very well for them. It goes very, I mean, it's incredible how fast they have grown by doing this strategy. But the thing is, like, there is a system for it. There's actually ways, the way to do it. And it's a long explanation. It just way too long to explain to you how it works. But the main concept is that when you're growing the equity of the properties, now you have a lot of money, a lot of thousands, right? A lot of thousands of equity. And because it's growing, and you have mortgage on it, so now you have a lot of room to play with equity. So you can refi it if you want, but you probably don't want to do that, because at the rate you're exchanging properties, it's kind of it's expensive to do a refi. So instead, you're gonna sell the property and get something bigger. But if you need money, what you can do is you can open up a home equity line of credit and use that money. But the thing is it's a lot. It's when you go commercial, it's very different from residential. And when you do home equity lines of credit, you're not gonna be doing your usual. Because, you know, home equity lines of credit, they're 10-year loans. They're 10 years pretty much, right? 10 years. So you know, the whole, you know, the way everybody does it is pretty much you borrow money from it and you do a value add on the property. So let's say you build an ADU, and so like whatever it costs you, let's say it costs you 80,000 or whatever it is. So the mindset is you pay back those 80,000 with whatever you make money, work, properties, and then you get that equity line of credit back to zero, pretty much. The reason is, like, in 10 years, you have to refi. You know, in 10 years, if you know, I don't know, everybody's different, but you don't really know what position you're at, and so like, what if you have to refi on purpose? And you have to qualify for the refinance, right? You have to making a good income. You have to prove that, you know, have money in the bank, like, you know, things like that, right? You have to have money to do the refi because it costs money to do it. And so let's say you're unemployed because of whatever reason, whether on purpose or by accident, you know, like maybe you retired and just like, oh, I'm doing good, I don't have to. And then the refi comes in and you're like, damn, like, now what? You kind of like, you have to do the whole thing on your own property. Now you have to refi your house to do that, to close out that credit line. So that was the whole old mindset, right? But the new mindset with the commercial properties is you're not gonna even hold the property for 5 years. You're gonna exchange it into something bigger, right? So if you pull out money on the home equity line of credit, don't worry about it, because you're gonna pay it off when you sell the property, and the rest of the money goes to the exchange into the next property, right? So that's one thing that's very, very, very different, and I think that's so awesome. By the way, it's a huge advantage from the old way. And the number two thing is about interest rates. It doesn't matter what number the interest rate is, and I know everybody talks about interest rates, but it's very different when it comes to commercial real estate. What matters is the DSCR, the pretty much debt coverage service ratio, is gotta be what the banks are asking. So like if they're asking for a 1.1, then that means that it's gotta be cash flowing like 10% more. So let's say it's like your mortgage payment is 2,000, then the 1.1 is 2,200, right? And you gotta maintain that. So you do gotta be making money all the time on the properties. So you do gotta put in work and watch them very carefully, because number one thing, you get audited by the banks every year, and they want to see the business is making money over your debt coverage service ratio. And so number two is when you're growing you're growing your equity and you're gonna do a home equity line of credit, that's fine, but you gotta still be covering that DSCR, that debt service coverage ratio. As long as your income is high and there's plenty of income on the DSCR, then that's fine. But right now, I'm seeing banks, what we're hearing is that they want them at 1.25 or 1.3. So that's pretty big, So like that's now instead of being your mortgage is at 2,000, and they want to see your rents coming in at like what is that, 246? That's like what, 2,600? That's a big difference from 2,200. So your business got to be making money, and then they got to see that. So the banks open up your books, they get it from you, they get your bank accounts, and they're looking what you're doing. And if you're not doing your job, then they're gonna call the loan saying, hey, you know what, it's not working out, pay back the loan. You're in very big trouble if that happens. But if you're doing good, everything's good, your strategy's working, then it's like, keep going until the 5th year, let's just say, right? And so anyway, with that refi money, you can pull out money and buy another house. Another property, another commercial apartments. So you don't have to, example, like if you have equity in a house and you pull out money to buy another house, then you can be in big trouble, because you have, let's say, a fixed rate of like a lower, like if you bought like 3 years ago or something like that, you have a good rate, let's say like a 4 point something, 3 point something, and you don't want to lose that. People think about the rate, right? But the thing is, okay, does it work for you? All right, whatever. And then you find another property, and then you say, okay, you base your income off, how much you make and how much you can pay for that property, and okay, it makes sense on the second one, so you're like, all right, let's buy it, right? So then you pull out money from your home equity line, and then you buy the property with that as a down payment. But you gotta remember, you gotta pay that thing back in 10 years. So if 10 years goes by and you don't pay that thing off, that line, the credit line off, then you're gonna have to pay it off when it's due at the 10 years. If you don't have the money to pay that thing off, then you're in trouble. Now you gotta refi your first property to pay off that credit line. So that's huge. But that doesn't matter when it comes to commercial. When it comes to the commercial, you're gonna sell that thing anyways, because you gotta do your business really good and sell it and grow it, and then buy another one and do it all over again. and you pay no taxes during the whole way, right? When it comes to exchanging, when it comes to capital gains. So all that money just gets rolled over, and there's so many benefits with depreciation. There's so much tax benefits. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you make money all the time with commercial real estate. You keep making it and making it and making it and making it. It's like, damn, like cash flow's coming in. It's a beautiful thing, right? But, you know, you can do that and then buy another one. So if you have another property you want to sell, you can do a 1031 and buy a commercial property and then start working on that one. And but it's really awesome because now you have options. Just an example, before today, I was pretty much thinking, I'm gonna be forced to wait 1 year to save up money so I can buy another property. You know, when it comes to building up all my funds, right? But at this point, because I was talking to someone, again, networking, I found out that I have a lot more money than I thought. But I have to open up a line of credit, right? That's what I'm talking about. This is huge. Like like to me, it was like, wow. Like I always thought lines of credit were like this. It was like, well, I want to open up a line of credit because just as an emergency, I don't have to worry. You know, go to sleep at night worrying when I'm doing the choke and grow. I talk about the choke and grow all the time. You save up money, you buy an asset, you become broke, but now that asset's making money for you, so now you became bigger and you're making money faster every single month, right? Well, my thoughts was, all right, that home equity line of credit is good if I'm gonna like need money for a rehab, which I already did all my rehabs. Like all my properties are rehabbed already, they're good, and that's great. And but I was like, I don't need money for the rehab. I have cash for that reason, so I'm just gonna like do another little quick, like I'm always choking and growing. The reason I always talk about it because I'm always going through it, right? Like a little choke and grow will be like my rehabs, right? I choke and grow on the one rehab, I fill it up with the tenant, and then another one comes available. I at the same time I'm saving up. While the other comes available, I choke and grow. Like I get my team, and while they're doing it, it takes like 3 weeks. I'm saving every week. I'm paying them, saving, paying them, saving. By the time they're done, I have to, you know, pay them off. But it didn't happen like when they started. I had to have all the money. It's when they ended, I have to have all the money. But I've been paying them the whole way until they're done. And so like choke and grow, and then it's like, all right, next one. These big ass racks I just installed, right? It's like, all right, money's coming in, buying these racks, very expensive, right? And then at the same time, buying the tires, even more expensive than the racks. And at the same time, paying for the labor, right? Paying for the people to help me move the tires, put them, you know, in inventory and all that. So I gotta do all those 3 things at one time. And you can't really stop because like, you can't have a big ass mess at the tire shop. You can't, you know, you gotta be able to walk around. So you have to have the guys. You have to have them. There's no way around it. You have to pay these tires to fill them up, and you have to have the money to like. But on purpose, I do that because I want to have a bigger income now. I want to have a much bigger income than before. So choke and grow, get all these things done, pay it off. All my racks are full of tires. Now all it is just sell, and more money's coming in than it was before. Choke and grow all the time, all year long, choke and grow, right? But when it comes to the properties, that's how I thought the credit line was. It was like, it's just gonna save my ass when I have to pay mortgages, or if something comes along, a big repair. Let's say I have to do a roof. What I gotta do now is I gotta paint the one of the apartments. 3 buildings, so I gotta pay that, paint it. So you know, I gotta save a lot of money for that. But if I, you know, I already have it saved. It's not that I have to save it. I already have it saved, so I'm ready to do it. But if something came like that and unexpectedly, I was like, I'm gonna use a home equity line of credit for that. Or you know, mainly that, or if you know, I needed to like borrow a little bit. You know, let's say I want to buy a property and I have a lot of saved, and then I just borrow like a little bit to finish up that deal, just to get it going, and at the same time I want to be paying it off for like a year, 2 years, and then pay it off. So now I have another property, and then I have the, you know, I choked and grow with that credit line, right? And I paid it off, and then I have like a little bit of cash, but I have now more units, right? That's why I thought I would use a credit line, but I didn't want to do that, so I didn't open up a credit line, right? So, but because of yesterday learning, you know, it's like, no, you don't have to use it. That is not the only way to use it. You can use it like that, yes, the old school way. But if you want to grow, then you got to buy another property, and you can get the money from the credit line, and don't worry about it because it's going to be paid off when you sell it. So you got to be on it. You got to be on it with like the details, and that pretty much, if I do everything according to like my plans that I just made, like within yesterday and today, it probably would shortcut me at least 6 months. If everything, I'm not saying I want to buy it as soon as like I get my line of credit, but I know that I'm going to be in much better position faster and sooner by doing this route than waiting. So, but that's what I'm talking about. Like, and now I go shopping, right? And okay, I go shopping for property, and it's like, well, I have all these options right now, especially with people like scared of the market and the interest rate and all that. Then it's like, okay, like I got a lot of options when it comes to like properties that are available right now. Compared to like when I bought 3 months ago, that market was on fire, right? But right now it cooled down a bit, which is great for a purchase. But the point is, like, at least I am stepping forward. I'm going forward to my goals, and you find out with networking, with more information, and that's exactly what that we're supposed to do, and what I did yesterday, and I was just amazed. So, you know, I went into my pretty much my bank that I have the loan with, and told me I want to apply for a credit line, and they got my information. No, I got to talk to them now so I can apply. But yeah, that's how that business works. I just made a quick overview of that style of strategy when it comes to real estate strategies. Is you buy an apartment building, you raise the rents, it's worth more now, and then you sell it, or you can take out equity and buy another one, and then continue to grow this business, and then you can start working on this one. And then if you got other properties, you can sell them and get into that business too. But it's up to you, whatever you want to do, right? But that's my favorite real estate strategy, and I hope you guys liked it. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go now. Have a good one. Mamba out.